Omar had always avoided mirrors, but tonight was different. As he stood there in his quiet bedroom, staring at his rounded cheeks and tired eyes, he felt a heaviness that went beyond his weight. He was exhausted from hiding behind large hoodies and forced smiles. He wanted to change, not for anyone else, but for himself. Scrolling through transformation videos, he felt a spark of hope. Something inside him whispered, if they can do it, maybe I can too. With a shaky breath, he tied his sneakers tighter than ever before. Tomorrow, his new life would begin. The gym felt overwhelming. Machines clanking, weights dropping, people moving with confidence he didn't have. Omar walked in nervously, heart pounding, feeling like all eyes were on him. His first run on the treadmill lasted less than a minute. Sweat poured down his face and his legs trembled, but he refused to give up. He wiped his forehead and stepped on to the next machine. Then he saw her, Lena. Beautiful, confident, glowing with healthy energy. She smiled at him as she walked by, and his heart skipped. For the first time in a long time, Omar felt a flutter of possibility. A few days later, he finally gathered the courage to speak to her. Standing near the dumbbell rack, Omar approached Lena with a nervous grin. "Hey, I've seen you around. I just wanted to say hi." Lena looked at him kindly, but sighed softly. "I'm sorry," she said gently. "You seem nice, but I'm just not interested." Her honesty hit hard. It wasn't cruel, but it was enough to leave a crack in his confidence. Omar stood still as she walked away, his chest tightening with frustration and disappointment. But beneath the pain, something stronger awakened. He whispered to himself, "I'm going to change, and this time, I'm not stopping." Omar attacked the gym with a new fire in his heart. Bench presses burned his arms. Treadmill runs left him breathless. Every rep, every drop of sweat felt like a step away from the old version of himself. He began learning from athletes around him, studying their movements, imagining a future where he stood among them, not as the overweight guy, but as someone strong, confident, and proud. The journey was long, but he had chosen it. Weeks passed. His face sharpened, his clothes loosened, his stamina grew, and so did the pain. There were mornings he could barely bend his knees, days when his muscles screamed in protest, nights when he questioned if any of this was worth it. But every time he wanted to quit, he remembered that mirror. He remembered Lena's rejection, and he remembered how badly he wanted to feel worthy in his own skin. He swapped junk food for meal-prepped containers. He trained harder, he rested smarter, and slowly, the old Omar began to fade away. Months of sacrifice transformed him completely. He no longer hid behind hoodies. His shoulders broadened, arms sculpted, chest carved like a statue. Even his reflection seemed shocked by the new structure of his jawline and the definition in his torso. He wasn't just losing weight, he was building a new identity. Omar looked at an old picture of himself and smiled, not with shame, but with pride. That old version of him had the courage to begin, and this new version had the strength to continue. It happened unexpectedly. Lena walked past him at the gym, paused, then took a second look, eyes widening. "Wait, Omar?" she asked, almost breathless. "You look incredible." I smiled politely. "Thanks, I've been working on myself." She asked questions, laughed, tried to reconnect, her interest now obvious. But Omar had changed in more ways than one. He wasn't chasing validation anymore. He didn't need her approval. He had become someone who valued himself first. So he simply nodded and went back to training. Over time, Omar became one of the most respected people in the gym. Not because of his muscles, but because of his mindset. He helped beginners learn proper form, encouraged those who were struggling, shared his journey not to boast, but to inspire. Late one night, after a tough session, he walked out of the gym with a calm, satisfied smile. The city lights shimmered ahead as he felt something he hadn't experienced in years: confidence, peace, pride. Omar's transformation wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about choosing himself every single day. And that choice had changed everything.